Welcome, everyone, to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk.
Nope.
Because we have a new name, everyone.
Yes, we do.
Hunter, why don't you introduce our lovely audience to the new name of the formerly Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk?
I'm gonna have to look at it again. What is it? Yeah, Prep Sports Plus is our new name.
Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports.
I was looking
Plus.
for it, and I was like, I'm gonna tongue twister it, and I was like, I gotta get it right.
We switched it up.
Prep Sports Plus.
See, there
Look at
you go.
that.
Prep Sports
Southeast
Plus.
Iowa Union's Prep Sports Plus with Andy and Hunter.
Yes, it's got our names on it now. Same guys, still powered by Fairway.
Yep.
New TV made me realize that my hair was messed up.
Remember, you know how many times we've let you go on with messy hair, and you're like,
Yeah,
why'd you
I
guys
know.
tell me about my hair?
I know, and then my when there's a big TV in front of me, it's easier to see my hair. So that's stress hair actually, because I just blew a bunch of money on the Pizza Hut arcade in Mount Pleasant, Iowa.
No.
My 6-year-old, I went to eat lunch with them earlier today, and she lost about $30, but we did get a little stuffed raccoon that's about 50 cents if you just buy it at the store. So, anyway, we're going to talk a little. Oh, by the way, Prep Sports Plus, that's pretty much like, I mean, what do we talk about? We talk about preps,
Yep.
Hunter.
Yep.
We talk about sports, Hunter.
Yes, we do.
We talk about plus, which is everything else.
Correct.
That's just permission for us to say anything we want ever, because plus means everything that's not sports.
Yep.
So that's good news. We're going to talk a little prep sports, though. How about
Yes,
a
we
little
will.
baseball, Hunter?
Let's just say.
How should we do this?
I don't know. Let's kick it off with Friday's games. How about that?
Friday night, the last time you watched this show, way back when it had a totally different name,
Yep.
we were going into a Friday night of 3A baseball.
Yes, we were.
Mount Pleasant, Fairfield, and Washington were all in action. Why don't we talk about Washington first, because that was the one team that fell on that fateful night. They were up at Central DeWitt.
Yes, they were.
Ranked and top seeded in the
Yeah.
bracket, Central DeWitt.
We don't want
Hunter.
to do a little spoiler about Central DeWitt, but yeah.
No spoilers.
We'll leave
yet.
that for.
Don't even look it up if you don't know what happened. We'll
Yep.
tell you everything that happened.
Yep.
Hunter, what happened when Washington went up to Central DeWitt?
Yeah, I mean, Andy said it. Central DeWitt, fantastic team. Washington, going up against them, struggling a little bit this year. Class 3A Sub-State 5 bracket. Demons looking to get the big win, but Central DeWitt gets it done 10-2 over Washington. Hold on, I just accidentally clicked out of it. The Sabres took a 3-0 lead after the first, added one run in the bottom half of the second to make it 4-0. Washington did cut that lead in half with a pair of runs, pair of RBIs from Luke Beanblossom and Caleb Zieglowski in the top of the third. But that is as close as the Demons would come, as Central DeWitt added 4 more runs in the fourth and another pair in the fifth, and then scoreless the rest of the way as Central DeWitt advances with the, as I said, the 10-2 win. Blaze Richardson led the Demons with 3 hits, 1 run in the win, and then I mentioned the pair of hits, Luke Beanblossom and Caleb Zieglowski. So Washington ends its season at 5-21. Good news for them. Not too many seniors on this team.
Just the two, the middle of the order. They both got an RBI here.
Caleb Zieglowski and Luke Beanblossom. Yep.
Now, you don't like to lose your shortstop and your catcher.
No.
And 2 arms for them, but I think probably the most. First off, they got the big junior class coming back, but I think that the most encouraging thing for Washington is that they threw underclassmen arms.
Yep.
All year. Krantz, Peebler.
And they were used to having upperclassmen arms.
Yeah, they
years
were.
prior.
They were. And so, I think that Washington will definitely take the step next year because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Smaller arms. I mean, Central DeWitt, they didn't get 10-run ruled or anything.
No.
They gave them a little fight here. So only a 5-21 record for Washington. They didn't quite, make the record jump from last year. But remember, last year, going into this year, they lost Ethan Patterson, who was a huge player for them. Isaac Vetter, who was their number 1 pitcher. So next year will be, they lose two big players, but they'll have a lot coming back. So things are looking up for the Demon baseball team.
Yep.
I still haven't seen anybody hit the school yet. Now they've been a full-on year having that new outfield.
I haven't
this whole
either.
year. I didn't see anybody at the school. So you know what? somebody next year, why don't you put your weight back and just drive one into the school because I want to see it. I saw that happen at Winterset one time. One of the coolest things ever. So while that was going on, I was hanging out on that side of the bracket.
Yep.
A 4-5 game. Mount Pleasant and Fort Madison. Fort Madison had spoiled the Southeast Conference for Mount Pleasant earlier, less than a month prior. Fort Madison was pitching Hunter Cresswell, who was the pitcher when they beat Mount Pleasant in that series finale. And he threw pretty well. Fort Madison had a 1-0 lead after 3. And then it was after Mount Pleasant had taken a 2-run lead on a Payson Coleman RBI single. We had Fort Madison tied it. So it was tied 2-2 going into the bottom of the 5th. But Mount Pleasant gets 1 in the bottom of the 5th and 1 in the bottom of the 6th to run away with this thing. It was a Peyton Higgins RBI single after a little bit of a controversial call that the Fort Madison folks did not agree with. A ground ball hit the umpire, just nicked him, and that took away an out, which I believe helped Mount Pleasant score that run. And then Braden Hudson led the 6th off and scored. So it's 4-2. Great outing by Ben Newton, who comes in, pitches the entire game. This is a senior, so this is his last start of the year. He threw 103 pitches and gets the win over Fort Madison. He has kind of come along, and he's been their dude.
Yep.
The last couple of years. Last year you started to kind of see him. I remember they used to pitch him on Thursdays in the game 3s.
Yep.
And he just started to get better and better and better. So that led Mount Pleasant into playing who else?
Central DeWitt.
Central DeWitt. And similar
Sabres, man.
thing. Mount Pleasant had a rough start against them. Central DeWitt was up 7-1 at one point. Peyton Higgins had a 2-run homer, but the Panthers ended up losing this one 8-3. But at least they didn't get stormed on too badly because they really were pushing it with that big storm, the derecho.
Yeah.
The derecho game.
It got pretty nasty down in Mount Pleasant.
It did. It got nasty like everywhere. Our power went out. But 8-3 Central DeWitt, and that one, as I said, Higgins had a 2-run home run. His only home run of his entire career. Last game. Kind of crazy.
And Central DeWitt kind of spoils 2 of our team's postseasons. And
yes.
Well, there'll be a little spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, Central DeWitt's
heading to state, but we'll get to that. That's the next game we're going to talk about.
That is,
it involves the next game we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about the Trojans. Let me just go through. Mount Pleasant does lose a few seniors. Peyton Higgins, Carson Andreessen, Ben Newton gone from this team, and a few others, but the only starter would be Payson Coleman. So just less than half of their lineup.
Yep.
They'll have some arms. But 2 of their big arms are Ben Newton and Peyton Higgins. So
they've got some good young arms. I saw a couple of them pitch, I think, when they played New London.
Oh, yes. Liam Marshall was pitching earlier this year. Mm-hmm. And they have the majority of their team is juniors. Yep. It's a junior class dominated baseball team, which is that could be good news going forward. They have a couple freshmen there too. So, and then Hunter, while I was at Mount Pleasant, while the Panthers seeked revenge over the Bloodhounds, Fairfield was going for the rarity.
Yeah.
They say you can't. It's hard to beat a team. How many times, Hunter?
Well, they usually say 3 times.
3 times.
But this was the 4th time that they were squaring off against Keokuk.
Yes. What'd you see?
Yes. Well, it seems like every single time they met this season, the Trojans only gotten better, and that was kind of the same held true in this one. Fairfield dominates Keokuk 13-1. Keokuk, led after the first inning, but Fairfield exploded in the second. There was a trio of doubles hit, and I don't have it pulled up here right now, but I believe it turned in. They don't have it on Varsity Bound of what happened in the second inning, but I think they turned into a 5-1 game just after that second inning there. And really, it was Fairfield the rest of the way. Obviously, that 1 run was all they gave up. In that first inning, was all they gave up the whole game. So, huge win for Fairfield. Ended it after 5 innings.
Short night for you. Yeah. It was a short night for you.
I like when our teams are going against I'm never complaining when our teams are going against teams that we don't cover and they just take care of business.
That's right. Well, yeah, that's right. When teams that we don't cover, that was a good qualifier there.
Yeah, see, it's different when they're playing.
Sometimes it does happen when there's two teams who are going against each other.
But
we do a pretty good job of hitting competitive games.
I know.
During the regular season.
I love the competitive games are always fun to watch when it comes down to the wire. And
the tournament every once in a while we'll see one of these blowouts.
You saw a really good one, Washington softball. But for the Trojans in this win, Kaysen Miller, Caden Allison, Aiden Westerkamp, and Nate Consul all with a pair of hits. Westerkamp led with 5 RBIs. Huge night for him at the plate. So, and also a really valiant effort with Voss Richardson, just a freshman, threw against him 5 innings, allowed just 6 hits, 1 run, and that one was earned, 3 walks with 5 strikeouts. So, pretty good performance defensively, and really, Fairfield, this is one of their best seasons in a while, and
it is.
Yeah. And obviously it kind of was a sour end, but
yes, sour end because a couple days later, was this last night? 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
I took the trip up to North Scott for a rain-delayed game. Fairfield and Assumption. Trojans looking for a tiny bit of revenge. For all you Fairfield baseball fans, you remember that Fairfield came pretty close to the state tournament in 2019, and Assumption nipped them 3-2. So they had a neutral game up at North Scott. Fairfield had saved their older arms. You mentioned Voss Richardson pitching. He's not their normal number one. So they had both Dane Burkhart and Nate Consul ready to go against the Knights. They rolled the dice in your game. The offense came through. And Fairfield played them pretty tight other than 2 innings. The bottom of the first, a little errors, but also just balls that just kind of were going the wrong places, and Assumption is able to score 3.
Yeah.
That put Assumption up 3-0, and Assumption was eventually up 6-1 on the Trojans after 4 innings. But Nate Consul came through and relieved Burkhart in the last 2 innings, pitched pretty much flawlessly, and that helped Fairfield inch into it a little bit. Talon Bates, in his last career at bat, kind of like Higgins had his 2-run homer against Central DeWitt, Talon Bates hits a 2-run homer in the top of the 6th, which ended up being his final at-bat. That cut it to 6-3, and then Fairfield had the leadoff runner on with a double. Luke Consul doubled to start the 7th. So Fairfield did start breathing down their necks just a little bit. And then I think the whoever was right after Luke Consul had a kind of a weird bouncer in between shortstop and third base. And the Assumption shortstop made a lot of good plays, and he ran on. It was like a bad hop. He scooped it perfectly. He made kind of one of those leaning throws. So that was a dagger because that was first and third. I don't know if the runner at second, Consul, would have got to third, but that would have been 2 outs and nobody on. Instead, that's an out, and then Assumption got the next 2. So Assumption 6-3 over Fairfield. Trojans, as you said, one of their best teams in quite a while.
Yep.
They had a good senior class here. Seniors that start for Fairfield that will be lost: Bates, Caden Allison, Landon Nodrift, Nate Consul, and Aiden Kruder. So that is over half of their lineup. Of course, they do have the arms. Burkhart's only going to be a junior next year. He was one of the best pitchers in the entire SEC. And obviously Richardson too. So they'll have the arms. They'll have to fill in that lineup a little bit.
Yep.
I'd say going forward into next year, it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot for our 3 SEC teams on who's going to be who you'd put your money on next year.
It's going to be another close. It's going to be close again. I mean, really. I mean, all the games were relatively close, especially from the 3 teams that, record-wise, Washington, wasn't quite there with Mount Pleasant and Fairfield, but like every time Washington played, I mean, it was a close game.
Yeah, I saw Washington lose to Mount Pleasant on a walk-off. I saw Fairfield take 2 of 3 from Washington, but Washington won one of those games by a run. And then Fairfield and Mount Pleasant, they were all 3 blowouts, but they were split. Next year will be a little more competitive. And I don't think Fort Madison, Keokuk, and Burlington will be too far off of that mark either. No, so I don't really think there's a big favorite coming in next year. So we'll see. But remember, Fairfield was the conference champion, their first conference champion, and just a championship in just a few years, which wouldn't be much of a drought, except that before that, Fairfield had won like 3 in a row, and Fairfield and Mount Pleasant had combined for like 20 in a row or something. Not 20, right. Washington fans, sorry, but 10 or 12 in a row. I'll have to look that up during the break. And speaking of the break,
right.
so we're gonna go to break. After that, we're gonna say goodbye to softball. We had a big softball game on last Saturday, Washington's regional semifinal.
And we'll also jump into some small school. Had a couple small schools fall.
Yes.
A little short as well.
Yes, and then we will maybe bring you a little bit of plus from the press.
little
prep
plus.
school. I got something cooking up actually.
Ooh.
So stay with us.
I don't even
I've
know
got
what
something
this is.
cooking for the next after the next commercial break. We'll be right back.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
Bring the kids and share the memories at the 2024 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Great food from the North Village or the Log Village. Plus, learn how to square dance over at the dance bar. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2024 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 29th through September 2nd in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
Midwest Old Threshers coming up. That was the last commercial, August 29th.
Yep, getting to Mount Pleasant,
Can you believe it?
downtown before then. If you're going to anything other than Old Threshers,
Yeah, we don't get a big. Yeah, that's true. We don't get a big break in this world. Well, Mount Pleasant has Ragbri coming through,
oh, true.
and then you got the Olympics.
Yep.
I know everyone was watching the World Series of Poker, which just got over yesterday. That wasn't in Mount Pleasant, but I'm just saying.
You know what's
a lot
really
of stuff
interesting?
going on.
Off
WNBA
the
regular
rocker.
season. Yes, off the rocker. Twisters
Watching
comes out tonight.
the World Series of Poker is very interesting. I never had it before. I just
Did you
turned
do it
on.
this year?
Yeah, I turned it on the other day. I'm like, why am I like just so interested in watching these guys bluff just with the worst hands ever?
Yes,
And
I'll
like,
tell you what. It only takes like $10.
You know what happened the other day?
The whole thing.
I was
What?
watching these two guys play, and I don't know if it was just like I don't know if it was part of it or it was just another poker thing. This dude just like tossed away 40,000. I was like, man, that guy looks pretty laid back for losing 40 grand. All of a sudden it
that's
pops up. He's sitting with like 700,000. I was like, oh, no wonder.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, no wonder he's just no sweat.
What I like to do is I subscribe to it so I can watch the whole thing. So I watch the early days, and then because they just have them play all day, so you can just have it on your TV or phone.
Yep.
And then you kind of learn just all the nobodies that play, and then you're like, oh, I like that, like the cowboy hat guy or the funny shirt guy, and
Sunglasses, crazy
like,
sunglasses.
yeah, and then like my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just give me a second. The tank top guy is going against the farmer guy.
He just
and,
went all in.
Thinks I'm watching like professional wrestling. I promised a little bit of plus.
Oh yeah, what's
little bit of plus.
You haven't even let me know what this plus
No.
is.
It's one of our favorite segments that I screwed up the link, but it's a celebrity birthdays. You ready for some celebrity birthdays? And we haven't done softball yet, which we will do next. But a couple celebrity birthdays. Happy birthday to Vin Diesel,
Oh, there you go.
Kristen Bell, and the late great Nelson Mandela. We used to call it celebrity birthdays because they were like nobodies that would be on this website, but those are actually three people I know.
Yeah,
So
me too.
happy birthday to all of them. Also, Wendy Williams. I had a Wendy Williams moment on the show in the seat one time. Remember when she passed out?
Yeah.
And then I did it?
And then you left the
Almost.
room, and I was like,
That's right.
well, I was stressed for a second. I was like, where do I go? Where do I start?
That's right. That's right. So me and her, Wendy, still out there. I'm thinking about you. How about a little softball, Hunter?
Little softball, yep.
Now, going back to the last show, I believe we only had one softball team left. No, we had three. We had three
Yep.
because we had the Friday night games.
Yep.
We had Washington, Cardinal, and Highland.
Yep.
I'm just going to do a little trigger warning, guys, that the next segment is not going to be very happy-go-lucky because, unfortunately, we went 0 for 3 in the
Yep.
regional semifinals and did not have a team in the regional
Washington
finals.
was trying to get back to get a little revenge on Assumption last year. That's who knocked them out
Yep.
last year, and
I'll tell you what. I'll talk about
it
Washington
wasn't meant
first.
to be.
On Saturday night, Washington held a 4-1 lead over Central Lee, a team that they had beaten,
12-2.
You saw them beat them 12-2. The Washington offense was rolling. It looked like good old times. Hit after hit after hit. Bella Salazar was dominating in the circle through 6 innings. So it's 4-1, and I'll tell you what, Central Lee's got a really good beginning of the lineup.
Yep.
They had 8-9-1 due up. Again, Washington leads 4-1, I believe, to get there. Olivia Anderson had a 2-run double, and then they had a couple of RBI singles. Lauren Hendrickson had one, and then I forget where the other one came from. I tried to do it really quick. I didn't find it. Anyway, I think Riley Live had the other RBI. Anyway, so they're up 4-1, 8-9-1. I got a little nervous because I thought, what if Central League gets one of these two on, they've got a good top of the lineup, but now it's kind of clutch time, and in softball and baseball, sometimes that just happens at the last inning. Central League just started hitting the ball everywhere. Bloopers were getting in. They were crushing a couple to the outfield. They got all the way up. They led 5-4 with runners on second and third with 1 out. Ball hit out to Emery Walton in center, who had made a snow cone catch a couple of innings previous to keep Central Lee off the board. She caught it, threw a girl out at second. It was actually, she doubled a girl off at second while there was a girl tagging at third. So saved at least 1 run right there. Then Washington loads the bases with 1 out, with Kendall Hendrickson up and Leighton Salazar behind her. Pretty confident, in those two. Kendall hit one all the way to the fence, got caught. They didn't tag to tie it. And then, I don't know where the ball was, but Leighton Salazar on the very first pitch she saw, it just kind of blooped out towards kind of like where we would be if they still had the media boxes,
Yep.
like foul territory between right field and it just hung up.
Don't get me started on the media box. Not to change that.
I know. I was complaining about that the other day. They don't think that we're athletes. Shout out to Fairfield's Peyton. Help me out here. She graduated last year.
Fairfield's Peyton.
Hit me in the face with the foul ball. McCabe. Peyton McCabe.
Yep.
Got it. Because I got injured in the media box one time.
You might not be able to see me the rest of the show, but that's okay.
Oh, nice. All good now?
I noticed it went
Together?
black, and I was just like, whatever.
Oh, yeah. We were having some technical difficulties. I was supposed to warn you guys before the show, but it hasn't done the fuzzy thing. Yes. Producer Matt over there said that it might fuzz out a little bit, but, we've been pretty solid. Anyway.
This is a different technical glitch. The camera battery went dead, so Hunter
Oh.
doesn't have a camera. So
Hunter, you want to just scoot over by me for the rest of this?
I can.
We're going to buddy up.
We can
Like,
do a second break, and you guys can switch. We'll take a second break now.
we're going to go to an emergency commercial, everyone. Emergency. Some things have went wrong. We got problems. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you the rest of the softball story for Washington.
Yep.
Sorry.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
I am Melissa Westfall with Homegirl Realty. Heather and Charlotte and I have worked together for many years, and we have always had a vision to have a business together.
I'm Charlotte Howard, and the good news is we bring a very high level of experience. We have a combined 80 plus years of experience in this real estate marketplace.
I'm Heather Merrick, and Homegirl Realty brings a lot of things to the table. We have phenomenal communication with our clients, buyers, and sellers to make sure things are going smoothly and you don't have anything to worry about.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Welcome back to Andy and Hunter sitting next to each other because we had a camera go out.
Yes, sir.
Hunter, who powers us no matter if we're sitting on opposite sides of the desks or right beside each other?
That'd be Fairway Food Stores.
Every single time. You know what? They've never called and been like, hey, you guys are usually across the tables. Now you guys are on Zoom. What's up?
I need to get to Fairway. I need to get to Fairway soon.
Maybe make a run after this.
All right.
Feeling some Hostess.
Need some meat?
Hostess. Oh.
For some reason, every time I think about Fairway, I always think about meat.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but.
I know it's getting pretty close to dinner. But I don't know. I think of whenever I go to anywhere, whether it be Fairway or any of the lesser known places to go get food and snacks and stuff.
Yep.
I usually am just, I like to pop in, and the first thing I go to is the Hostess, and then what's the snack cakes?
Little Debbie.
Little Debbie. I usually, it's kind of my vice or whatever. We talking about softball. So Washington lost 5-4 that foul ball I was talking about. They caught it in foul territory. Then it's craziness. Central Lee celebrates. We use the word like stunning or shocking a lot. Sometimes people overuse it. I was actually stunned walking away being like, what in the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And then Central Lee almost beat Assumption. You said 6-3?
Yeah, I believe it was.
So
don't quote me on that.
That makes it double tough because you're like, that would have been a great game between Assumption and Washington.
I could be. Yep, 6-3 Assumption.
But then on Friday we had two other teams in it.
Yep.
Tell me about one of them. I'll tell you about the other one, no matter which one you get.
Well, let's start with Sigourney taking on, or Highland taking on Sigourney. Highland's been one of those teams that has been super good. Never really broke into the rankings, but they always play with some of the best teams like in the area and things like that. But obviously, Highland going against one of the best pitchers in the state, Carly Goodwin out of Sigourney. They get 6 hits off of her and only give up. Grace Prybill did fantastic for the Huskies, only giving up 4 hits to the Savages, and this is how it shook out. So pitchers battle for the most part. Sigourney scored 1 run in the top of the first inning. It took Highland all the way to the 6th inning to find their first run. As Mackenzie Davis had a little bunt. I think it was a bunt to score that 1 run. But then top of the 7th inning.
Wait, that was bottom of
that was the bottom of the 6th when Highland scored their first run.
No, I think I think Varsity Bounce tricking you. I think Sigourney was the home team in this one. It's mixed up on Varsity Bounce.
Yeah, you're right.
But Sigourney is the home team because you're the one who told me that.
Yeah, because I told you it was a walk-off.
You told me it was a walk-off.
But Highland ties it up in the 6th inning, and then in the bottom of the 7th, after a shutout, top of the 7th. I guess that's still throwing me off thinking about that. But in the bottom of the 7th, Sigourney got the walk-off run to edge Highland after probably one of the best games they probably played all season against one of the best pitchers that they probably faced all season long too. So pretty heartbreaking for Highland as a team that kind of we talked about the past couple of years, having a really good roster and definitely having the talent to make the state tournament. And they come 2 wins short once again. So, and Sigourney is heading back to state. I can't remember who they beat in the next round, but let me check. They beat Edged Wapello.
Yeah, they edged Wapello.
Another great team who has a great pitcher, Ada. I think it's Ada Boyds, and that was another pitcher's duel. And that one, that actually went all the way to the 11th. Not to get in too much detail, but Sigourney wins that one 2-1 to get back to the state tournament.
That's what happens when you have a pitcher like that. But I'll tell you what, if there was a team that was going to beat Sigourney, I would have said that Highland would, because when you have the stud pitcher, the teams that are most scary are the ones that have the speedsters with really high averages right up, and they can just small ball it.
Yep.
And Highland is built exactly to do that. And they did that once to tie it up. By the way, that walk-off happened with 2 outs because Preble pitched 6.2 innings.
Yep.
So
That's tough.
that is tough. But that means that they were tied going into the 7th, 1-1. So Highland, I think, that might have been high. They lost by 1 run last year at Wapello.
You watched them lose an absolute heartbreaker on a walk. It was a walk-off then too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Back-to-back years they lost on walk-off.
Yep, and then the year before, I think they might have lost a 1 run. Basically, the last years they've come so close, and they keep losing in these close games.
Yep.
And speaking of that, we have another team that's almost that exact thing. Cardinal was playing South Central Conference foe Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont. I think on Friday I kind of showed a little bit of fear because
a team that they only beat 4-3 and 2-1 in the previous 2 meetings.
Yep.
And we just talked about third time's the charm.
Yeah, and Eddyville had not been ranked. Eddyville jumped in the rankings, I believe, at the end of the
Literally
year. So this is a scary.
In that conference were
this
ranked.
was a scary team for Cardinal to be playing. What happened?
It ended with a 4-1 loss for the Comets. Eddyville, Blakesburg. Going by the Cardinal, probably a lot of teams don't put their stats in after they kind of lose. Some do.
Yeah, but we don't have the.
But going off of Eddyville, Blakesburg's stats, their pitcher, who was just a freshman, Laney Batterson, apparently only give up 1 hit.
1 hit
in
the
game,
entire
which
night.
is absolutely wild. And
no walks and no hit batters either.
Yeah, and Nicole McClure is Cardinals ace, and they don't have the stats for her, but she obviously threw in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But Eddyville Blakesburg scores 2 runs, top of the first inning, and Cardinal really just wasn't seeing the ball very well on the night, and get shut out the rest of the way. And the Rockets score 1 run each in the 5th and 6th to pretty much seal it. And
yeah, that's
a really tough go for Cardinal. Cardinal's kind of like Highland, one of those teams who has a ton of talent, and just came 1-2 games short. And obviously the Comets are rated number 4. They beat some that a really tough schedule.
Oh,
beat
some really good teams.
Beat some great opponents. Beat the number 2 team in 1A, Wayne. That was probably their biggest win on the season, I'd say. And Wayne's in the state tournament in Class 1A. So really tough end for Cardinal, but they end 27-8, one of their best seasons in a long time too.
And by the way, even more devastating for that, the second seed in that bracket was I-35. They got upset that
they got
night.
beat too.
And then EVF went on and beat.
Who was it? It was. I'm thinking I'll talk about
Linville. No. But it was kind of a close.
I'll tell you in like 2 seconds.
Here it is. Who was it?
Pleasantville.
3-2. That was on Go SCC. I think I watched the end of that one. So yeah, Eddyville, who got like 6th in the conference in the SCC. We talked about how good it was last week.
I said 4
They're
teams
going
in that
to state.
4 teams in that conference were ranked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
Now,
last
they're
year,
only SEC team that made it though, which is pretty surprising to me.
Which is crazy.
So that stinks. So Cardinal and Highland also, just to add to the pain on this one, they both had a lot of good seniors.
Yep.
Cardinal's senior class has been leading them since they were in freshman, at least 8th grade. I think Nicoa was pitching as an 8th grader. Nicoa McClure, Emma Becker, their leadoff hitter, who's been their leadoff hitter and one of their best hitters for forever. Cynthia Albert's been there for years and years. Brinley Ostrander, catcher, years and years. Alexis Bissell, that's a sophomore right there. Who else is a senior? Is that just those 4? But those are like the core of their team.
And then same for Highland. You got Grace Prybill has kind of been their ace pitcher. Sarah Burton, who's been one of the best players in the area.
Since she was an 8th grader.
Yeah, since she was an 8th grader. Madison Beeson's been huge catching. Peyton Brunn been one of the best hitters for them. and then Courtney Chalupa, Abigail Pearson, and Maylee Fessler as well. So a lot of great talent going to be missing next year from those two teams.
And this will probably reflect in our small school softball all-union team. Cardinal and Highland are kind of like up here, and then we've got a gap before the rest of our other teams. And the gap, I think, we had a lot more of the other teams that had like no seniors that'll start to maybe creep up on, because it's really been Cardinal and Highland have been our best teams for,
and they've been
quite a while.
They've had
in the small schools.
the more upperclassmen kind of led teams for quite some time. It's kind of like the same thing with Washington. Washington was kind of on the lower end of the Southeast Conference.
They slowly built themselves up.
I think I told you like 2 years ago, it's like, well, they're going to have the same team for the next 2 years. And look, I mean, last year was kind of like the start of like their height. Obviously, they were one game away from state, and then, or I'm pretty sure that Assumption game was one game. No, it wasn't, because they played at Assumption. They would have played it.
No, I think it was. They play the girls. I don't like it. The girls play at whoever. They never play neutral. Yeah. I'm a neutral type of guy.
So they came one game last year, and obviously very well could have been one game this year too, playing Assumption once again.
So Eddyville and Sigourney both will be playing at Fort Dodge on. And you know what else they made it? They switched the state softball. You get the consolation games again.
True.
You didn't. COVID stopped that, and they're bringing them back. So we had extra games.
Play for third place and
fifth place too. Like even if you lose the first round, so.
Which is nice. I feel like
I like that.
I like that too. Don't just go play one game and then get eliminated. I like having to. I almost wish they would do that for other sports too, like every sport. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, they kicked out the third place game for basketball too.
I wish they had that too. That'd be cool.
Unfortunately, that means we don't have any teams left. Do you have any favorite memories from this summer? Off the top of your head? That might just be the next episode.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I saw one walk-off win, Mount Pleasant versus Washington baseball. Unfortunately, I saw the walk-off win with Holy Trinity over Winfield Mount Union softball in the playoffs. See, how many dingers did you see this year? How many bombs?
None.
You didn't see any this year? I saw Talon Bates had the one for Fairfield. I saw Colby Griner hit one for Washington. I saw Fort Madison against our teams hit a couple. And, something funny, speaking of homers, just one last funny thing. When I was covering Fairfield baseball at North Polk, against Assumption, that was a 5 o'clock game, and all of a sudden stuff started happening on the softball field. They're like, there's got a regional final softball game coming up. I was like, who's playing? And it was Burlington.
Oh yeah.
So I stayed and watched an inning of Burlington before I left.
Who did they play? They played
North Scott. I called them North Polk right there, but North Scott.
And that was a good game too. I think it was. I think it ended up being 5-0.
Yeah. Yep. I saw Burlington get the leadoff runner on, and then next 3 outs, and I left.
Burlington's good too.
So Southeast Conference has been eliminated from postseason play. On to football. I had somebody asking me about football yesterday, so people are ready.
Yeah.
And this show will slowly transition.
They love their football.
To a football. We're going to take all this stuff down here and just put a bunch of footballs up and fall stuff and basically turn this thing into a man cave.
We like football too. We got fantasy football. We got...
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what.
We got fantasy football.
I have another depressing story.
NFL Red Zone.
Yep, love NFL Red Zone. I have a depressing story about the other day before we go. I was at Walmart. I was with my wife. I said, Sweetums, I call her Sweetums. I said, this might sound weird, but I almost acted like a kid. I was like, a lot of the other husbands are buying this video game, NCAA Football 2025.
That's where you were going with it.
I was like, it's like $60. Like, it's going to be expensive, but like pretty much everyone's getting this game. I was like, when it comes out, I think I'm going to splurge on $60. And she's like, okay. She's like, well, can you even play it in your Xbox One?
No, you can't.
Yeah, I was like,
you got to spend an extra $600 just to get the console.
I don't know. And I looked it up. I was like, crap, no. And she's like, well, we're at Walmart. Let's go see how much those new Xboxes are. I knew immediately that I was not going to get a new Xbox. And so I went over there to see how much it was, and it was $600.
I told you.
And I was just like,
you got to spend an extra $600 just to play it.
Yeah.
So $670. There you go.
$670.
I knew as soon as you said that.
Way.
Like, I think I could play it. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard. So hopefully a couple of my buddies are talking about.
What I'm actually gonna do to afford that is I'm gonna send in like an audition reel to Wheel of Fortune. You should too, and then we should just have a deal that if either of them get on and win, then we'll. You didn't buy it, did you?
I'm gonna be honest. I already have it.
Well, I guess we're going to Hunter's house after this. But that's it. So that's Indiana Saturday.
I know you were big on the 14, right? Or 12.
Actually,
14
no,
or
I'm a
12.
little older than that. It was more like 2005. but I used to love that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, now I'm sad. Now you guys are sad because you know the show's going to be over soon. But at least you got Caparotto celebrating 40 years business, so that's good. New vehicle, which
great.
I keep hitting raccoons, so pretty soon.
Wow, where are you hitting raccoons at?
Just outside of Federation Bank, but they pay for no, just kidding.
What about Hy-Vee?
Yeah, they got such big parking lots.
You know, I go to the floral section often to Hy-Vee.
You do?
Yes.
I just do the same thing. I walk in and get the
concerts included with gate admission at Old Threshers Reunion. You gonna go?
Pumped about that. I will, even though I can hear it from my house. In Unkin Nest, we're gonna go there and watch Caitlin Clark's next game. After she gets that rest, she's gonna be dropping like 30 and 30.
Community
All right, we should probably go so we can let Matt out of here. Because a lot of the haters say that we usually go closer to an hour and 30 minutes. Looks like we went about 40 minutes today. But we will be back.
Homegirl Realty.
We might be back next year. Next year. We might be back next week. We will be back next year.
Man.
We'll probably won't do one every single week in
Yeah.
the summer. I would like to do one every single week, but sometimes we take like 1 or 2 off.
Yeah.
Go on vacation. Maybe get a second job to pay for
There you go.
NCAA 2025. Not tell the wife and then put it in the basement.
I love that. That's funny.
So we'll be doing that, but just in case, we will see you maybe
next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Force Plus.
See ya later.